part of the mix.
So the Southern Alliance for Clean Energy is 25 years old. This is an exciting milestone. In the 25-year anniversary, we want to look back and see the great accomplishments, but we also want to plan forward to keep doing the important work that SACE does. Coal, from cradle to grave, is dirty business.
My name is Bill Troy, and I was one of the people who started the Tennessee Valley Energy Coalition back in 1979.
It was a young ragtag group that was made up of 3 or 4 people, it seemed like, in the beginning. They were interested in doing something about how we deal with air pollution. That led ultimately to how we deal with energy in our country.
TVA by that time had become the nation's largest electric utility. It was the largest coal-fired utility in the world. They had a nuclear power construction program that called for 17 nuclear units throughout the Tennessee Valley.
And TVA in those days was an unchallengeable organization that did things precisely the way that they believed that they should do it.
TVA had enormous debt that they had rung up trying to build this nuclear power program. And for many years they were able to hide the rate increases that paid for the debt in the summertime when people wouldn't notice very much. People began to experience electric bills of $400 and $500 and $600 a month. Well, the thing that strikes me most is the sight of these folks from community organizations and senior citizen groups and religious groups testifying before TVA. Because you have to understand that TVA wasn't used to that at all. Expanding the concerns about the cost of energy and the impact of energy on people in the environment beyond just activists to just regular folks, and be able to do that, it was educational, you know.
We've come a long way in the respect of how we relate to TVA, because we were kind of biting at TVA's ankles in the beginning, and now we're actually shaking hands and trying to work on proactive and productive ideas.
In 1993 was a time where we went from TVEC to TVERC, from the Tennessee Valley Energy Coalition to the Tennessee Valley Energy Reform Coalition, and redoubled our focus on TVA. In 1999, the Tennessee Valley Energy Reform Coalition became the Southern Alliance for Clean Energy. What we wanted to do at that time was expand our developing expertise and advocacy beyond just the Tennessee Valley to where we were doing work in Florida, the Carolinas, and Georgia. Particularly on air quality issues, we were seeing a lot of impacts to the Great Smoky Mountains coming from other parts of the country other than our region. We also saw that there was a need in Florida for having an elevated discussion about energy policy, and so we felt that we had something to contribute to those discussions. And we actually merged with Georgian for Clean Energy, brought them on board, developed an office in Atlanta and Savannah, and have been very active in issues around energy policy in Georgia ever since. In the 1990s and early part of 2001, 2002 timeframe, we really began to work with regional utilities to advance renewable energy in new ways, where citizens could actually pay a little extra on the utility bill and get clean renewable energy brought to this region and brought to the utility mix. Up until this point, TVA and the neighboring utilities had not seriously invested in renewable energy. SACE played a very key role in getting these early investments in the technology. We were very active with bringing the first wind turbines into the southeast, up on Buffalo Mountain. We've been working with the utilities for the past decade, really focusing on solar, and we're beginning to see some real advances as we're going from smaller solar projects to much larger solar projects.
What we've got to do is invest in energy efficiency and clean energy sources, not in dirty coal-fired power plants.
We've been very concerned about opposing what we call high-risk energy choices. We, working with other groups in the Southeast, have stopped a number of coal-fired power plant, new coal-fired power plant plans that were on the drawing boards in Florida and in North Carolina. We've been very active in promoting energy efficiency alternatives, and we've been very active in the federal debate and the national and international debate around finding alternatives to energy production that lead to global warming and climate change. So we've had a very active 25 years. So the way we've stayed the same is that we've always been focused on protecting consumers and protecting the environment. from how we produce and consume energy. The energy choices we make have dramatic impacts on people's pocketbooks, and they also have dramatic impact on the environment. Well, the main way it's changed is it's expanded its geographic focus. It's also expanded its issue focus. Historically, we were narrowly focused just on electric utility production at the Tennessee Valley Authority. Now we're looking at utilities throughout the Southeast, as well as looking at issues dealing with things like offshore drilling, clean fuels for transportation sector, and global warming related issues, which are beyond the region, they're international. So we've dramatically expanded our focus, although we've kept our southern roots. What I'm most excited about is the fact that I think we're going to break down the model that big centralized power generation dominated by big power companies is going to decentralize and become distributed, where each of us are going to be able to control our own energy choices. And so through renewable energy like solar, wind, and geothermal, and through smart meters and others, we're going to be able to take much more control of our energy choices. I think that that's going to be the biggest change that we see over the next 25 years. SACE wants to be there. SACE wants to be a leader in sort of helping people make that transition where they get control of their own destiny, so to speak, their own energy destiny, and they can actually make sure that they're leaving a lighter footprint for their children and their children's children.
Well, I think the things that the organization is doing now about clean energy are very important. They're critical.
And as we put one foot in front of the other and back up and one foot in front of the other, we do look over our shoulder and see that we have come a long way. So if we've come from nowhere to somewhere, then change is achievable.
This organization is important because somebody in a very public way needs to be watching these people who are producing all this energy and pulling together the broadest possible number of people to participate in solutions that are oriented toward clean energy.
So it's been a complete team, a family of people that have come together to really make these accomplishments happen and to work together and be passionate. One of the things that really I like most about SACE and the people that have gravitated toward SACE is their passion. They really are very committed to these issues, and they want to make sure that in their life they make a difference. They understand the consequences. They understand the dramatic implications of how energy is produced and consumed in this country and across the world. And they want to basically set up to where they're making a personal difference, they're making a professional difference, and that they empower people to understand that we can do better.